Hello and welcome to Warblog. Today we're looking at the Battle of Ap Bac, 1963, January, Vietnam. It's a it's an unusual one for the game in the particular sense that ordinarily I don't have units structured this way, but these are actually platoons, and these should be platoons as well, really. Oh well. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter, but the if you sort of look at the map, they've got 3 companies, and they form a sort of defensive line like this from Ap Tan Thoi down to Ap Bac. And if I had 3 companies, that would be 3 of these little units. 1, 2, 3. That wouldn't be a defensive line. So I split them up into platoons. The thing is, they're quite strong platoons. The 2-2s, I mean, they're as strong as the companies. And that's to represent their preparedness. It's to some extent to sort of make the game work as it did historically. So essentially, what happened in Ap Bac, I was about to read this out. The Battle of Ap Bac, 65 kilometres southwest of Saigon in the Mekong Delta in January 1963, illustrates the problem of whatever this was talking about before. The month before, Vietnam Army intelligence had reported a reinforced Viet Cong company in Ap Tan Thoi, which is there. 1.5 kilometres northwest of Ap Bac, which is there. So that distance is 1.5 kilometres. So it's not that far, but basically the Vietnamese 7th Division planned an operation to trap the Viet Cong by landing the 11th Infantry Regiment to the north. So they land at this LZ here. This LZ is used later on when they paratroop in some reinforcements. Now, the problem with this game is you can't really play it. It's almost for just illustrative purposes, really. A bit. I mean, this map is probably better because it sort of shows you where things happened. But you can. Because the reason you can't play, it's not because you can't play it, move the counters around and try and attack this. It's because you're not going to be surprised, and they were. So they thought there was just one company, so they landed a lot of the units up here. So let's sort of get into the play mode thing. Interesting. Viet Cong look like they're going first, so I'll have to switch that around. So here you've got all your units. So all of these units land up here, and there's basically 2 battalions. So the Vietnamese 7th Division planned an operation to trap the Viet Cong by landing the 11th Infantry Regiment to the north by helicopter, while a provisional regiment of 2 battalion-size forces of civil guards, these ones down here, was to attack. Was to move in from the south. So these units are going to airborne to there. These are going to come in from the south. They thought that they were around here. So, and these guys were kind of coming from the southeast. Now they're only a small attachment, so it's, when it comes down to counters, it doesn't look as though they're really going to do much. Plus, it was only a squadron, so a 4th Mechanised Rifle Squadron of the 7th Armoured Cavalry was to come in there. There were 3 Vietnamese Rangers and Ranger and infantry companies in reserve. They get called in later. What I haven't got here is the artillery support. It says artillery and air support was on call, but it doesn't mention anything about it being used, so I don't know. I haven't actually included it, I think, for that reason. Now, they've got mortars. These are actually mortars, Viet Cong mortar platoons, but they're actually classified as artillery. So we're dealing with sort of different scales here, so it's a bit odd. So essentially, you've got to land here. There's a lot of anti-aircraft, commit air insertion. Press 3. Now, historically, they didn't get any of that. But when the next lot come in, they had, I think, about 15 helicopters, and 14 of them were shot down. And there's a helicopter crash site just here. And basically, some helicopters go down, and this unit is ordered to go in and secure the helicopter crash site. Now, if that's 1 kilometre, I'm guessing, to be quite honest, that the fields of fire were probably open across here, and maybe this helicopter crash site was here. I don't know, but because of the way the game works, I have to put things, next to it. I mean, there's no way you can be firing at each other across that, even though there might be just a few hundred yards. So, it's a bit tight like that. But essentially, a lot of these helicopters get shot down. So we're going to expand this. DE. It was shot down. Look at that. Oh, this is DR. Depression 3. Depression 3. Exchange. Depression 2. Now, I might change this. I mean, basically, my original game plan was to actually have these units come in, and then for all these anti-aircraft units to actually appear on turn 2, meaning they could come in without being attacked. But I didn't do that. The Viet Cong sort of went first anyway. So if they land a bit further back, they don't get as much anti-aircraft. So they lost a unit. That's quite incredible, really. Okay, well, the LZ's there, so it's I might have to modify how these anti-aircraft rules work, because they essentially work in the old way. So the LZ's there, so I'll land there. DR. So everything has been basically hit. Depression 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3. Everything got hit. Okay. Well, it's poxy. Everything's wrong with this stupid bloody laptop. Beeping. It's the battery. It sort of says, "Oh, the battery is." But it keeps doing it. Nothing wrong with the battery. Anyway. Okay, so that's the first turn. So essentially they come in, and then obviously the thing is, I'm not sure whether they're outnumbered, but I mean they're probably outnumbered here. But again, why I say it's hard to play, game wise is because, well, what would you do? I mean, obviously you can see where they are. I mean, we're going to sort of try and move into these positions and pretend you can't see these units. You know, it's sort of, unless you just sort of try and do that. But secondly, if you were to play it, you would pick on one part of the line. You know, you could attack this bit, you know, or sort of move around here and just attack these little bits and come down, taking each bit piecemeal, and you could probably do quite a lot of damage that way. You know, why? You're not going to sort of spread yourself as a big long line and match the line. You know, these units would be stuck here doing nothing because they can only attack what's in their zones of control. So, you know, it's a very strange sort of defensive line. It's not as though they're trying to get them from here or there. And because I'm probably not going to get through everything, especially to the parts where they bring in the extra reinforcements. They do try to bring in some more troops, and some of the 14 of the helicopters are shot down. What's the exact numbers? Because it wasn't short 14. Yeah, they withdrew at night. Okay. At 10:20, as the helicopters came in for their fourth lift, the Viet Cong anti-aircraft crews hidden among the canals opened fire. Of the 15 helicopters bringing in the reserve, 14 were hit, and by noon, 5 had been shot down. So we've lost one of these. And so, you know, this is a shot down helicopter, and they try to get this unit here to go in and secure the crash site. That looks like not a job they probably wanted to do. But then, basically, they drop in the Vietnamese. Basically, they drop in some Vietnamese reinforcements. By mid-afternoon, when it was apparent the enemy could not be overrun, the South Vietnamese army commanders and the advisors decided to request reinforcements by an airborne battalion. Despite the vehement objections of both colonels, one of whom was the 4th Corps Tactical Zone Advisor, the Corps Commander decided to drop the South Vietnamese Airbourne Battalion to the west, behind the mechanised squadron, rather than the east of the canal. And this was actually seen as quite a major flaw, according to this sort of book. So basically, the mechanised unit sort of gets around here, you know, it's trying to get this helicopter, and they land it behind it there. Whereas what they should have done was land it there. So what they were trying to do was surround all of these people, and because they didn't land the airborne units here, when night came, the Viet Cong basically left in that direction. And so, you know, technically they were supposed to be sort of surrounding them. So, I mean, that's pretty much the sort of the ins and outs of it, really. I mean, I'm not sure what these guys are going to do, but yeah. Because we're not going to get to that sort of reinforcement phase. I mean, we've only got a few minutes left now, but so I'm going to start firing these sort of mortar units out here. Effect. Point 3. Point 7. Another 0.7. Oh, come on, give me a break. I've tried sort of googling these problems, and it's like I'm talking Greek. So how much is he on now? 4.7. They're not going to advance out of their positions, so that's one thing. And what I haven't pointed out yet, they're not going to advance. Well, that's something. Basically, I think if you look in this stack, we've got, I'm not sure how many of these there are, but these are Viet Cong guerrillas. So these are actually insurgents. So we're going to come out of here with these insurgents and attack that. So they're on basically half, so 1.5. We're on. So this